frayed nerves, followed by some huge celebrations in Milton Keynes this afternoon, as the town was chosen to be an official venue for England's bid to stage the 2018 Football World Cup.
Yes, listen to the names. Milton Keynes joins London, Manchester and other Premiership cities to make the shortlist. Our correspondent Neil Bradford was at the Stadium MK for the announcement and joins us now. Neil, this is an absolutely massive announcement for the club, isn't it?
And fantastic news for our entire region. It's estimated that up to 8 million people live within an hour of this town. A town with a city attitude, and that city attitude seems to have prevailed today. Of course, England still need to win the race to stage the 2018 World Cup. But for the people of Milton Keynes, today was a day of nerves and celebrations.
Liverpool, Anfield.
The tension was unbearable as the names of 14 other host cities were read out. Only one place remained. It was the right answer.
Milton Keynes.
Well, the excitement here is clear. There is just one small problem, though. England needs to be chosen as the host for the 2018 World Cup.
I think we wouldn't have been chosen unless we had demonstrated we were low risk and high ambition, which is what FIFA wants. But also, we have a little innovative angle, I think, which will add to England's bid. The beauty of our winning this today and being included is that we're amongst the Premier League of cities now.
When England last hosted the World Cup in 1966, Milton Keynes was just a small village in the Buckinghamshire countryside. The tree-lined boulevards and glass-fronted buildings of today existed only on paper. Until 5 years ago, it didn't even have a professional football team. Now the MK Dons have a large following at Stadium MK, the cornerstone of the host city bid.
And the names of those cities, big cities, you know, London, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, and we're not there. And then he says, last but not least, and Milton Keynes come out, but thank goodness we're in that squad, really excited about it.
Milton Keynes is the only town among the host cities, but most residents are in no doubt it's ready for World Cup football.
Manchester, London, Newcastle, they go to all those, but it'd be nice to have somewhere new on the map, I think.
It's a nice modern place, so yeah, I should think it'd be fantastic.
It's growing fast, it's just full of life, and I think people would have a great time if they came here.
For comedians everywhere, Milton Keynes and its concrete cows have been the source of much delight. But the bid team hope that today's news will change its reputation forever.
But first, they need England to win the race to hold the 2018 World Cup.
Neil Bradford with that report. Fingers crossed, of course. Now, it was one of the blackest days in the school's history. 8 pupils taken to hospital after a car ploughed into them while they were on an organised walk.
But 3 months on, well, the mood at Worlingham Middle School in Suffolk is much brighter. Today they enjoyed their Christmas lunch and invited along some very special guests, the emergency crews who'd helped at the scene. Malcolm Robertson reports.
For those at Worlingham Middle School, this is just about the best day of the year. Christmas dinner cooking nicely and the holidays just around the corner. But it's a school that's had its problems recently. All these children here were involved in a horrific accident. It was late September when they were on an organised walk in the village that they were struck by a car that mounted the pavement. 8 pupils were taken to hospital. Mourners attending a nearby funeral left the church to help the casualties until emergency crews arrived. To express their gratitude, the school invited to lunch firefighters, police officers and ambulance crews who helped on that day.
They were really kind, they were really calm about it all, they just were really nice to us. It was just really scary and hard knowing that some of my friends had been hit and knowing that some of my friends were in hospital and knowing that it was really bad.
Olivia Lee was desperate to be here. Both her legs were shattered and she's only recently been released from hospital.
It's lovely for her to be here today, to see all her friends again, to see all the emergency crews that helped on the day. It's just lovely for them all to be reunited on a much nicer, happier occasion.
As bad as the accident was, everyone involved realises it could have been so much worse. A police helicopter had to ferry in paramedics because the air ambulance was out of commission.
Absolute carnage on the day, and it was where to start because there's so many children laying around, all very still, all very quiet, very eerily quiet.
Road traffic police officer Hamish Philp has a son at the school and was dreading what he might discover at the scene.
Just panicked really, and even though I'm doing this job, I see it most days. But knowing that my children who come to the school and knowing some of the casualties as well, it hit home quite a bit really.
A 40-year-old woman's been bailed in connection with the crash. Having had the celebration lunch, the school wants to draw a line under what happened in September and look forward to Christmas and the New Year. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Worlingham.
Right, it's coming to 16 minutes past 6. Do stay with us. More news to come.
Yes.
More news now from Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex, and a man's been arrested in connection with the suspected murder of a father of 3 from Great Yarmouth. Derek Tempest was last seen in October after going to see 2 men who ran a local garage. 5 days later, they were found dead, having apparently committed suicide. Police believe Mr Tempest's body may have been thrown into the River Yare.
Bus drivers from the First Group in Essex have called off a strike planned for tomorrow after agreeing a new pay deal. The dispute between Unite and the company has been continuing for months, with strike action in October leaving much of North Essex without bus services. First have now thanked passengers for their patience and support.
The parents of a 27-year-old man found dead in the grounds of a Norfolk church have paid tribute to their loving and caring son. Stephen Monument was found on a pathway at St Andrew's Church in North Birmingham last Wednesday. It's believed he'd broken into the church and was attempting to abseil down its tower.
Next to the simmering row over plans to build 1,200 new homes on the edge of Newmarket.
There's been fierce opposition from residents and racehorse trainers in the town who fear increased traffic could harm its racing industry.
But the developers insist that their plans for the Hatchfield farm site, which is off Fordham Road, are sympathetic to their surroundings. Stuart Leiths reports.
This is the farmland at the centre of a planning row. Fields on the outskirts of Newmarket that are the subject of an application for 1,200 new homes. Plans that are opposed by many residents in the town and members of the horse racing community, including the local bloodstock auctioneers Tattersalls, who've been trading in Newmarket since 1766.
The town strongly believes that Newmarket cannot sustain growth on such a massive scale. The infrastructure of the town is struggling to cope with things as they exist now.
The plans have been submitted by landowner Lord Derby. Newmarket is, of course, famous for horse racing, and there are concerns that increased traffic could endanger the racehorses that have to cross the town's roads. In a statement submitted with the planning application, Lord Derby has said it is sympathetic, realistic and deliverable, and that it will benefit local people. A planning inquiry is being held and a decision's expected next year, and clearly many residents fear 1,200 new houses will threaten the future of the home of horse racing. Stuart Leiths, Anglia News, Newmarket.
Plans for the first section of a Norwich Northern Bypass have today been given the go-ahead by the government. The new 9-mile dual carriageway around the north and east of the city will cost £90 million. It'll link the A47 near Poswick to the A140 near Norwich Airport. The project has faced opposition from some local residents, but the County Council says it will ease congestion considerably.
All the traffic goes straight through the city now, and there's a lot of it from north to south, will instead be using the Northern Distributor Road, and the space given in the city by that traffic not going through it can be used for better bus services, better cycling routes and more space for pedestrians.
An open-air swimming pool in Ipswich is to be sold by the Borough Council. Broomhill Lido was designed in 1938 and is a Grade 2 listed building. It was then closed in 2002. Now a charitable trust has been set up to campaign for the Olympic-length pool to be restored.
Now then, he may not have won